This is the Detroit Sports Podcast Network.
The biggest icon in podcasting.
Welcome in, everybody, to this week's episode of the DocNJock Wrestling Podcast. I'm your host, Adam the Jock Straczynski. On today's show, we've got a ton of injury news, stuff taking place in WWE, stuff taking place in New Japan, and we got some video game release dates. We're going to get to all of that later on, but this was the go-home week for two major pay-per-views. We've got a ton to unpack here, a ton of predictions to get into. Doing it with me, as always, helping me break it all down. He's the one. He's the only. He is the Doc, John Macaroon. What's up, cuz?
Cuz, despite a broken right arm, I'm still here ready to podcast. You're not going to hold me back from a Memorial Day weekend filled with two wrestling shows. One on a Saturday afternoon, one on a Sunday evening. Are you kidding me? Even if I had a canker sore or a sore throat, I would be here. You can't hold me back. Just as tough as Cody Rhodes. That's what I want to be known as. Let's go, baby. Two shows, Memorial Day. It's early in the morning. We're ready. I was hyped. I jumped out of bed even before my alarm, and I was like, let's go. It's time to perform and give the people what they want. And that's a little bit of Doc and Jock on the weekend. What's up, cuz?
Not too much, man. I think the way we do this, because we've got so much here. We've got two shows, two incredible shows, one taking place on Saturday at 1 o'clock and one taking place on Sunday at, I believe it's 8 o'clock. We've got so much to unpack, and there's so much that went on this week with the go-home shows. I think as we go through our predictions, we kind of set our predictions up with kind of our take on what we've seen from this week in wrestling. And I think we start with WWE because we've got Night of Champions. That's about ready to kick off here in what? We're recording this at 8 a.m., so this is getting ready to kick off in less than 5 hours. So I think we start with Night of Champions, and I think we start with one of the most talked about matches on this card. They're saying there's three main events. I hate when they do this. There's one main event. It's whatever match goes on last, but it is the World Heavyweight Championship. It is Seth freaking Rollins versus AJ Styles. And look, Seth Rollins has been out. Seth Rollins has been filming the new Captain America movie. AJ Styles has kind of had to carry some of this build by himself. For Seth Rollins, they've been doing a lot of vignettes. They basically sat down with him and they did a 15-minute recorded sit-down, and they broke it up over 3 days, basically, and you've got all of it. I don't know how AJ Styles wins this match. 1, he's on SmackDown. 2, this is a Raw championship. 3, whenever they need to put a belt on a guy, it's always Seth Rollins. I think this is going to be a fantastic and incredible match, but I'm thinking Seth Rollins wins this match.
Yeah, me as well. I just don't see the scenario. I think it would be great if you could further a different storyline. You know, if you wanted to have interference and have potentially Seth Rollins lose. But no, this just seems set up for, really, in the end, the result we know. But what I'm intrigued by is what kind of match this is going to be. I think a lot of false finishes. I think it's going to be a wrestling showcase. This has the potential going into it to be a 5-star match, and I'm just looking forward to it. Among the card, there's a lot of things that we're going to debate, but this is the one that whatever I'm doing, if I have a Corona in hand with a lime and I'm by the pool and I'm just briefly checking in, because I'm going to take in Night of Champions, but I'm going to be passively watching it and then hitting it hard over the evening because it's Memorial Day weekend. Duh, we're going to hit the Coronas and hanging out and spending time with some family. So I'll be intrigued, but when that match hits, like, okay, guys, leave me alone. I need this 15 minutes to see two great athletes hitting it hard, and I hope the crowd at Jeddah really appreciates what they're going to see. I hope it's going to deliver.
Yeah, I hope so too. I think you and I both believe this match is going to deliver. We both think it's going to be great. Honestly, I think this card has a lot of really, really good matches, and one of those on it is the undisputed WWE Tag Team Championship. You've got Kevin Owens, you've got Sami Zayn defending against Roman Reigns and Solo Sikoa. And I think if you watch SmackDown on Friday night and you've seen what transpired throughout that show, I think all of a sudden there is a little bit more intrigue in the bloodline. We've been talking about how the bloodline has been running stale lately. I think all of a sudden there's a lot more intrigue. And I think this match has a lot more intrigue because I could see there being a Jimmy and a Jay Uso outside interference, I could see Jimmy and Jay costing Roman and Solo this match. I could see this leading to more fracturing in the bloodline. And I do love the fact that Jimmy and Jay have, throughout this whole series with the bloodline, have kind of played off of each other. One's been the good cop, one's been the bad cop. One's been bad cop, one's been good cop. And I think it's played really well with this story. And I think this right now is one of the more interesting things WWE has going on. WWE has figured out a way to relight the fire of the bloodline because it was on life support for a couple of weeks. I don't think we need Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn in it anymore, and I think this is a good way to finally usher them out of this story. I think they win. I think they keep their championships. I think we then move on to Roman Reigns, Solo Sikoa, and I think maybe it ends up Roman Reigns, Solo Sikoa versus Jimmy and Jay Uso. I think that could be the next step where we're headed. So I'm really interested in this match, and I think this has a whole lot built into it. How do you see this one playing out, and what did you think of what we got on Friday Night SmackDown?
Yeah, it was great, dude. I thought the KO show was great. I thought that showing Jimmy kind of being upset, the more physicality, the more pissed off Roman was. It was awesome. I was like, oh man, Kevin Owens is hosting a show that's going to have Roman Reigns and Solo out. But you got to remember that Solo debuted overseas in one of these shows. So is there another Fatu out there potentially that could come in and join the bloodline? I think we get a surprise.
Maybe Tama Tonga?
Yes, I think we get a surprise. I think we get the debut of another bloodline member, and I just think that this is an advanced level from the bloodline, that they feign that they're being weak all along. Because why wouldn't Jimmy just whoop Roman's ass right then and there? You know what I mean? If he was really that upset. Yeah. I think the visual of having, I just want to see the visual. I think it's going to be cool, even though I've seen it recreated online by some great wrestling fans. Roman with the 2 championship, the world championships on his arms, held up high with the 2 tag team belts that he would possess. I think it would be a great look. So I'm predicting that it's going to be a title change. Because I just think Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens can do so much more than be tag champs. They just have a lot more and a lot more to give. And I think that the chase might be interesting too. But I see Roman and Solo winning it.
Interesting. I think this is going to be one of those matches that is fantastic, and it's going to highlight the evening. And I do believe this match right here is going to give us a lot to talk about next week. This is going to be one of those matches that we are unpacking for probably the next 2, maybe 3 weeks, which I think is going to be fantastic. I think it's going to be great. Something that I don't think's been great as far as the build goes is the Bianca Belair Asuka match. There's been talk about possibly turning Bianca heel, and I know we've brought this up before. It'll kind of help freshen her run up a little bit and make it, I don't know, extend some of the longevity with her being the Raw Women's Champion. Look, the one thing I will say about this, as I was watching this on Friday night on SmackDown, I was taken aback at legitimately how pretty Asuka is. Asuka always paints her face up. She's always spit and mist. She always looks half deranged. Asuka's a very pretty girl. I see what WWE sees in her, right? She's a very good wrestler. She has a good look. Again, the promo aspect of her game is a bit of a struggle, and that is hard. It is hard for her to build and sell a match because all she does is say, "I'm Asuka," and that doesn't do anything to build a match. I think Bianca Belair wins this match, but I think for the ladies, this is going to be a awesome match that we're going to get. I think Belair comes out the champion. I think Asuka gives it everything she's got. I'm looking forward to this one as well. I don't think the build's been worth a damn, but I think the 2 in-ring competitors can put on a spectacle.
Yeah, I think what we're going to be looking for is what storyline emerges after. Are there any double turns? Are there any outside interference? How does this play out? But none of us expect that Asuka's going to take it down just yet. And I just think that really at this point in Asuka's career, she's right there at main event level, but I think she's just going to be used really to further the development of Bianca by saying, hey, she beat a top competitor again. Hey, as long as the Asuka Muda Mist shows up, it'll be a good match.
For sure. Next match we've got on our docket here. We've got Rhea Ripley taking on Natalya. And look, I'm going to be honest. Everybody knows I'm a huge Rhea Ripley fan, right? Rhea Ripley just kind of got out of a know-nothing build, a get you to the next point type of saga, and that was done with Zelina Vega. You then move into another one of those with Natalya. There's really been no build here. She calls Natalya out. And look, I know you like Natalya on her Instagram. You like Natalya's daughter on her Instagram. I get it. But as far as what she does in the ring, I think she's good enough in the ring, but she doesn't have the it factor. And I don't know if it's just because of the way WWE has packaged her and used her, because WWE legit only see her as a good hand. They only see her as being somebody who can help get other people to that next level. I think Rhea Ripley's already on whatever that next level is. Rhea Ripley is, right now, she is the top of the mountain. She is the GOAT as far as the ladies go. I don't understand what this match does for her. I don't know why we have this match. Maybe Natalya was like, yeah, I'll go to Saudi Arabia. I'll take the paycheck. And they're like, cool, Rhea, you're going to go too. You two will fight. Let's just go. Bing, bang, boom. I need Rhea Ripley to, after we get done with this, she has to have some sort of build with some substance because she hasn't had anything. There has to be a competitor who feels like they can legitimately take that title off her. Otherwise, what are we doing? Like she's just basically holding a belt and she's just running through people, and that's fine and good, right? But I don't think any of us see her because she's never been built as a Bill Goldberg, where Goldberg just ran through everybody and ended up becoming champion. She doesn't do that. That's not her. She needs to have an actual long-term build with some substance and a storyline where it does feel like her competitor can take the belt off of her. I think that helps push her up even further. How we got to this match with Natty, legit. If we went through and we looked at the build for it, it probably took 5 minutes. And we've probably spent more time talking about this match than they did building this match. I think Rhea Ripley retains her title, but I have no interest in this match.
Yeah.
Where are you at?
Yeah, you're right. And you were referencing Natalya's sister, who also is now in the OnlyFans.
Oh, sister, I'm sorry.
Yeah, of course. She's now in the OnlyFans game.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. Her daughter would be kind of weird. Be like, why are you checking out her daughter? I don't think she has one.
But I thought she was old enough. I didn't know.
Yeah, no. Her sister is voluptuous and is doing her thing. And look, you do what you got to do. And it's 2023, and to use any means necessary to get yourself over. Any press is good press. We're far beyond the discussion of whether women should do this or not. Natalya's hot. She should do it. And her bathing suit game is great. The indoor pool selection that she's got at her Florida home is spectacular. I love checking it out. It pops up in my feed. I don't know why. It just pops up around the second or third thing in my feed all the time. So I think that her stuff that's going on away from the ring is a lot better. I really do feel, and I don't know why WWE doesn't do this. Like, I know Natalya's in her 40s. I know you don't want to do no ageist kind of thing. But Natalya would be a perfect valet for someone like Rodriguez or one of the up and coming stars. Just a nice, like, boom, valet along the lines of an Arn Anderson. She'd be great at it. I think she'd have a presence, a walk, a talk. She doesn't need, like, the things that she's going to do in the ring still will have impact, but no one's going to believe that she's on par with Rhea Ripley. So I think she'd be perfect as a valet to host a stable, to do things that, could be next level. It doesn't have to be called Heart Foundation. It could be called Heart Attack, anything like that could be interesting. I just think they need to be fresh with Natalya, but I don't see anything coming out of this match other than 10 minutes up and down, good technical wrestling, and Rhea wins it.
Yeah, I agree with you. I don't see anything special coming out of this. And honestly, I think Rhea has such a dominating look, and she has such a dominating presence about her. It almost feels as though they have like one toe in the water, one toe on land, and they want to kind of push her in this China direction, but they don't want her to be full-blown China, right? Where China was extremely masculine. Like, Rhea is very masculine, but she's still kind of soft like a woman. And I don't think they want to go all the way to that extreme. They kind of want her to be this weird tweener, almost like China, but not quite China. And legit, when she stands face to face across from a dude, like, I feel like she could handle herself. Like, they've built her up that way, which I think is fantastic. And it's kudos to them for their booking, for taking a person who was at the highest of high, ended up getting beat by Charlotte, and it really wrecked her self-confidence to building her back up to where she can stand across the ring from a dude like Solo Sikoa, who they have built up to be an absolute killer. So kudos to them for actually rebuilding one star and building another star, and kudos to her for actually finding it within her to take it to that next level and get on that next level. Our next match, Intercontinental Championship, it's Gunther versus Mustafa Ali. Look, Gunther's going to win this. I think you and I both agree on that. The big conversation is, and the big thing that came out this week is there are talks about Gunther versus Cody Rhodes at the next WrestleMania. Then this was dominating early in the week, and then later in the week, Dave Meltzer came out and kind of squashed some of this and was like, no, the long-term plan is still Cody versus Roman at the next WrestleMania. So there's this talk that's kind of been fueling things, Gunther versus Cody, then Cody versus Roman to kind of complete the story. I think we're going to go Cody Roman still to complete the story, but honestly, Gunther and Cody, they want to work together. So before we get to WrestleMania, I could see these two having a really good series of matches. That could be something for later on, but I got Gunther beating Mustafa Ali.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the spectacle will be the entrance, the pop that he gets, because dude is just really doing his thing. And hopefully, what I like is that he does work stiff, but he does work safe. So Gunther's going to crush Mustafa Ali, but Ali's going to get a nice little hometown pop. So it'll be fun to see, how this, maybe get a nice, really the goal for Mustafa Ali is get a nice spot in that can be viewed, heavily online, because, he's not going to win.
All right, we've got our final ladies match on the card. Becky Lynch versus Trish Stratus. And I know this match is near and dear to your heart because you love Trish Stratus. Look, I thought Becky did a great job carrying this promo this past week on Raw. I thought the way she sold the anger, the way she sold everything, the lines that she said cut deep, basically telling Trish Stratus that if barking like a dog was one of the worst things she's ever done, she's going to make her life a living hell. It's going to be way worse in the ring. Look, I'm excited for this match. I think Becky Lynch helped get this match over on Friday. I think Becky has done most of the carrying of this. I think Trish, you're starting to see her flaws when you're up against somebody as smooth and well-rounded as Becky Lynch. I don't think Trish's in-ring action is as crisp. And again, she's been retired for a while, so I don't expect it to necessarily be as crisp as Becky's. But I think her promos kind of fall flat. I think she's uncomfortable on the mic. I think she's uncomfortable as a heel. She wanted to be a heel. I don't think she's a very good heel. I think she has some heel tendencies that are annoying. She's the annoying heel. She's not the mean heel. She's not the violent heel. But I don't think she has done a good enough job carrying this. I think Becky has had to carry the load on this. I think Becky wins this match, and I think this will be a pretty good match. I don't think it'll be as good as Belair and Asuka, but I do think Becky wins this match, and I do think it's a pretty solid match. This is actually a really good card when we work our way through it.
Yeah, it's going to be entertaining. I think that, like I said, the Jeddah fans are hyped. The press conference that was aired on Friday was really awesome. I thought that AJ Styles, Cody Rhodes, Triple H did a great thing. I thought that the fan chanting, you can see it online on the WWE social media sites. The crowd was chanting for LA Knight. So they're rabid fans. They know what's up, and their government definitely likes to drop, 8-figure numbers for the WWE to show up. So then they want the best kind of shows. So they get to some top stars and they get some matches that are intriguing. But I do think that Becky Lynch goes over pretty easily.
All right. And then that's going to take us to what I believe will be the main event of the night. I believe this is going to be the final match. This, they say, is one of the 3 main events, but I think this will be the one that closes out the show. Cody Rhodes, Brock Lesnar. And Cody Rhodes is supposed to have a broken arm going into this match. I don't know if I necessarily buy that. I think they've done a much better job with this build this time around than they did last time around. Still don't necessarily know why Brock Lesnar wants to fight Cody Rhodes and why he's all amped up and geared up. I do think this could have worked with Cody Rhodes having the championship. Brock Lesnar could have been going after his, 14th, 15th championship. I think that would have been a little bit more of an intriguing story. At least then you know what the hell's going on. How do you see this one playing out?
Yeah, if I'm booking the card, if I'm writing it, I have Seth Rollins and AJ Styles close the show, because the way in which I would write it is this match, obviously has to do more to build the storyline because look, you're in Jeddah. You want more out of this, okay? So you're telling the story and, a little bit of inside. Obviously, Dusty Rhodes had an angle back in the day where he broke his leg. And so this is kind of an homage with the great mind of Triple H and Cody Rhodes working together with the storyline of Cody Rhodes, the warrior who just does it all, which is fine. It's great. Cody can sell it. He is a believable top star, marketable. First and foremost, seeing Triple H, you now maybe planted a little bit of a seed. Will he turn on Cody Rhodes? What was that interaction all about? It was the moment of Raw. It made Raw really special because you're starting to see Triple H interject himself. Oh, and which is funny because all top bookers just can't stay away from the camera. And Triple H, obviously, it's a natural story to tell down the road. But the first salvo was kind of introduced. Triple H telling Cody Rhodes, you don't got to do this, man. You broke your arm. Why do you want to do this? Come on. We know your arm is broken. And Cody's like, I'm going to fight through this. I don't care. You've seen what I've done in the past, which is a little bit, entertainment side more than what I would be interested in, but it was great to see. So I would book it where this is the second to last match and you don't have a finish. You have a great match and Cody's about to win, getting the crowd all hyped, and then because I don't think this has any street fight or no DQ kind of stipulations, and then you just have Brock Lesnar go ape shit with weapons, chairs, DQ, get himself like disqualified, and just beat the shit out of Cody Rhodes, and you just amp it up again where Cody Rhodes is just mauled and destroyed, and Brock Lesnar loses his shit, flinging him all over the place, into poles, into the tables and things like that. Because you need to advance this. You can't, obviously, I don't believe you want Cody Rhodes getting pinned, and you don't want Brock getting pinned. So this is the perfect choice for me to get a false finish, something wonky. So I believe Cody Rhodes wins it, but Brock Lesnar gets his ass DQ'd.
All right. Yeah, I could see that definitely happening. Look, I don't know how it gets done, right? I don't understand because I'm not sure where we're going with the broken arm angle, right? I get what you're saying where Dusty had his broken leg story. I understand all this, but I don't know where we're going with Cody Rhodes and the broken arm angle. At some point, the arm is probably gonna all of a sudden magically start working in the match, and I think that kind of takes away from it a little bit. Unless he's gonna wrestle the entire time in a sling, I think Cody Rhodes gets the win here. And I don't know if it's by DQ or if we have another roll up or if there's by hook or by crook, he gets the victory. I think Brock Lesnar is going to beat the shit out of him. And I think he is going to get taken to task. But I think somehow he manages and figures out a way to get the victory. I'm going Cody Rhodes as well. Really and truly, the only one we differ on for Night of Champions is the Roman Reigns, Solo Sikoa, Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn. You've got Roman and Solo. I've got Kevin and Sami. We both agree it should be a fantastic show. Let's jump over to AEW because we've got a pay-per-view on Sunday night. And this one looks like it should be really, really good. Before we get into that, there was an announcement made that AEW Collision, this is, again, the announcement to the announcement to the announcement that Tony Khan was going to make another announcement. And this one was that AEW Collision, their first episode is going to take place in Chicago at the United Center, which basically tells you that CM Punk is back with the company. CM Punk will then be at AEW Collision, and AEW Collision will be built around CM Punk. And basically anybody who has had problems in the past with anybody else, they will get moved over to Collision. Basically, Dynamite is for the people who don't cause problems, and Collision is for all the headaches. The whole thing with Ace Steel, they were able to work most of that out. Ace Steel will be working remotely. He will not be allowed to be on scene at Collision. Apparently, this was all good enough for CM Punk, and Phil says, okay, cool, let's proceed. And that's what they're going to do. So this match here, or this build for this card here, I don't know if there's going to be anything that's going to play over into what we're going to get on Collision. Because, again, we've got basically almost 2-3 weeks out. You could see something. You could get a guest spot from Phil. Phil could show up at this pay-per-view. It'll be really interesting to see what takes place here. But let's kick this off. We got the AEW World Championship. We've got the Four Pillars match. We've got MJF defending his title against Darby Allin, Jack Perry, and Sammy Guevara. I think MJF wins this. I don't think the build for this has been very good. I know it's hard when you've got four guys, and I think all four of these guys. I think we both agree MJF is a couple levels above everybody else. I think MJF can help sell a match and help sell everything. I thought MJF did a very good job of that this week. I did not necessarily like the fact that he went back to the whole storyline of him taking his contract and going to WWE. Reports are he's already signed an extension with AEW, so he's not going anywhere, but we're still going to continue the story. I just think you've got to evolve this a little bit. But Darby Allin, Jack Perry, Sammy Guevara. When I look at those three guys and I compare them to MJF, I don't think they necessarily stand a chance. I don't see them as bigger stars than MJF. I don't see them as guys where that title looks right on their belt. So I think MJF wins this match. I think MJF continues to be your champion. Who do you have?
Yeah, absolutely. MJF, no doubt. A lot of high spots, a lot of great wrestling. I think the fans will really take it in. There's an opportunity. When you call yourself the Pillars, that means obviously there's intrigue and interest and everything going on and what you're doing. So no doubt about it, MJF wins it, but this one has a chance to be a very memorable, look at that. Hard for me to say. A very memorable, very memorable match that I'm going to be looking forward to.
All right, we've got the TNT Championship ladder match. You've got Wardlow defending against Christian. I'm assuming that there's going to be some foul play from Luchasaurus in this match. He will get involved one way or another. I think this match can go one of two ways, right? Either you can make Wardlow look like a monster star by beating Christian, right, and overcoming Luchasaurus. And you're like, yeah, that's a bad dude right there. Or you can continue to do what you're doing with the TNT Championship and devaluing it by taking it off of him. The guy hasn't really had it for very long. Again, you can then switch the belt over to Christian, and maybe that gets a little bit of prestige on it. I don't know where they go with this. I want to get your take on how you see this one playing out.
Yeah, it's I like seeing Arn Anderson. I thought on the show to see him, talking about raising the four was really cool. Even though it's a reminiscent to the Four Horsemen. I like Wardlow. I love what he's about. I'm just really confused with how they've used him. Like, I think that with better booking and better storytelling, like, you could have made this man a star, like a major star, world champion star. So I understand you're taking it slow with him, but I don't see a scenario in which Wardlow loses. He's the champ. He's going to have a great match. You got to continue to build him. So I see Wardlow dominating and having a nice performance.
I could see that too. I think at this point, you have to do something because you've devalued this title and you've kind of devalued this guy. And last year, if you compare where we were at last year to where we're at this year, right? If you compare Wardlow, where he was at when he got done working with MJF to where he's at now, boy, has he fallen. He was riding so high, and you could have done so much with him. And then you have him lose a couple times to Samoa Joe. You put the belt on him, take the belt off him. Put the belt back on him, take the belt back off him. I think you got to leave that belt on him. I think for a couple of reasons. One, you got to rebuild this star. And two, you need to add some value to that championship. You can't just keep playing hot potato with it because what the hell is it then? It's just there. It just goes and hangs out on a warm body just for some other warm body to take it off. So I'm going to go Wardlow as well because I feel like you've got a championship and you've got a star basically hanging in the balance. And if you book this the wrong way, you are going to crush both of them. And I don't think you can afford to do that, especially as a company as young as AEW is. If you get into the business of crushing stars before they even had a chance to really explode on the scene, then what good are you? You're no better than what WCW became later on in the later years. So don't do it. Build Wardlow, build your TNT Championship back up, make it relevant, make it important. The AEW Women's Championship, you've got Jamie Hayter defending against Toni Storm. I'm going to go Jamie Hayter in this. Jamie Hayter is supposed to be coming into this not medically cleared. She's supposed to have an injury. This could be a prime time to take it off of her. You could put the belt on Toni Storm, and you could proceed with a story with the Outcast and Toni Storm having the belt and basically giving a little bit of kudos to Toni Storm for basically helping get them through that whole interim saga where it was just a bit of a mess with the Women's Championship. All that being said, I think Jamie Hayter's a badass. I think Jamie Hayter is really good. I think she's a really good wrestler. I like the belt on her. I think she tells really good stories. I do expect some interference from the Outcast in this match. I do expect Britt Baker and Sheeta to jump in as well. If you watched Rampage on Friday night, the Outcast beat down Jamie Hayter with a kendo stick. I think Jamie Hayter overcomes all the odds, and I think she leaves as the champion. How do you see it playing out?
Yeah, absolutely. I don't see a title change just yet. You want to build your champions. I know AEW has a history of kind of doing that and maybe making title switches at pay-per-views, but I think Jamie Hayter is somebody that has the potential to be really special. So you want to have a good match and really highlight what the women's movement is about there at AEW. So I'm expecting Jamie Hayter to retain.
All right, we've got the AEW World Tag Team Championships with special guest referee Mark Briscoe. You've got FTR defending against Team TNA, which consists of Jay Lethal and Jeff Jarrett. How do you see this one playing out?
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting match. First of all, what do you think of the build? I thought it was interesting. I know Jeff Jarrett's a character that you like, but what did you think of the build of this particular match?
I think they've done enough to where they've kind of told a bit of a story. To me, initially, it felt as though they were fighting over Mark Briscoe's attention, and then it became fighting over the belts, and it was like this weird, awkward pivot to get there. I think FTR did a really good job this week cutting a promo and kind of selling it. I thought Mark Briscoe coming down and questioning Dax, like how he hit that pile driver and why he hit that pile driver on him and then slapped him. I thought that was interesting. I thought Mark then basically going through and him giving like a throat punch to Karen Jarrett, I thought was great. And then him pushing Jeff Jarrett away and him getting into Jay Lethal's face saying, "I'm your boy, but I'm tired of your shit with your people." I thought that was a nice touch. Mark Briscoe at this point has separated himself from both of these groups. I don't necessarily think the build to this match has told a great story, but we're here. And I think the talents involved, I think Jeff Jarrett, for whatever you think of him, he is an incredible wrestling mind. I think Jay Lethal is fantastic in the ring. I think FTR are great wrestlers. And I think Mark Briscoe is kind of the linchpin that kind of pulls it all together. He's a little bit kooky. He's a little bit sawed off. He's a little bit of everything. And I think the fans want to embrace him. So I think when it's all said and done, if he was to pick Jay Lethal and Jeff Jarrett, I think the fans are going to cheer, right? I think they're going to erupt because Mark Briscoe's the referee. Mark Briscoe will be raising the hand, and it will at least appear as though Mark Briscoe has sided with them. If they sided with FTR, the fans already love FTR, and it's just like a brother coming home. Everything is good to go. I think the build could have been better. I don't think it was great. But like I said before, we are here now. And with us being here, look, I think FTR is going to win this. I don't think Jay Lethal, Jeff Jarrett do. Again, I think this is like Mark Briscoe comes home, FTR, they're all one big happy family, and we just kind of roll on. I think there's some more dissension that might go on between Mark and Jay, and you could maybe tell a story there and build off of that. That's how I see it going. What were your thoughts on the build?
Yeah, because I just didn't. I thought the segment, everything was going smooth until the Briscoe had that weird interaction with FTR. I don't know if he was trying to play neutral or be more aggressive. It was just a little bit weird. I agree. I don't see a scenario in which Jeff Jarrett wins it. I think the tag belts stay with FTR, but you got to maybe question what Briscoe could be about. Could be on the take. Could he be willing to switch to a unit that may be on the rise with Jay Lethal and Jeff Jarrett? It's yet to be determined, but I think FTR, in my opinion, is best for business to keep the titles on them.
Yeah, I agree with you 100%. I think we both agree those guys are freaking great with those belts. All right, we've got the unsanctioned match with Special Enforcer Sabu. Now, you popped super hard when Sabu came out. It took a little bit, and it took you doing some digging to make me realize that Sabu and Chris Jericho have wrestled in the past before. I don't know why I didn't recall that. I felt like they might have, but I wasn't 100% sure. I don't understand how you shoehorn Sabu into this match, but they did. Adam Cole, Chris Jericho should be a fantastic match. Now, there are going to be some outside things that are going on. I can see you having basically everybody from the JAS jumping in. I think Roderick Strong plays a role. If Kyle O'Reilly is healthy, I could see Kyle O'Reilly coming back. You have Sabu there as well, which could be interesting. I'll be honest with you, the guys in the ring, when Sabu entered the ring and he threw a chair at them, they seemed a little uncomfortable. Like, Sabu is kind of crazy. Like, a lot of shots to the head, man. He is a little bit dangerous. Like, he is wrestling from a bygone era. We don't see the stuff that we used to see with ECW anymore. There's a reason for it. So he's got that mentality. He's got that deathmatch god type of mode. It'll be interesting to see how the guys in the JAS handle that. I think Adam Cole wins this match. Look, as much as I love Chris Jericho, Jericho at this point in his career is to help make stars bigger. It's to help get guys over. I think at some point we'll see Chris Jericho with another title run, and that's cool. But I think for today, or I should say for Sunday, I think Adam Cole wins this match. What do you think happens?
Yeah, it's great. It's such a great feud. I could see it. This is the toughest one. I could see Chris Jericho. I could see Adam Cole. It is Chris Jericho's job to get people over, but Chris Jericho is just such a believable figure that I wouldn't be surprised if he does win. I wouldn't be shocked. But yeah, no, the best for business move obviously has to be Adam Cole winning and getting over and moving forward. I mean, what a way to boost. What a beautiful way to transition Adam Cole. You know, if they continue the feud, it'd be fine, but what a way it would be for him to keep it popping and keep it moving, to jump off of the Jericho Appreciation Society. So it's going to be a great match. And Sabu, it was just cool because to me, I figured he was like 75. Dude's only like 58. So he's right in the wheelhouse of the veterans that Tony Khan likes to sign. Okay, you know, if you get to be 58 to 60, 61, you got a couple-year window. But it was cool because he does live in Vegas, and there is a little bit of a tie there. It was just for a pop. I mean, it's a cheap pop. It's Sabu. So you're not going to see him do moves. But it was funny because he's shrunk in size.
Oh,
obviously.
bro, I bet he flies off the top rope and goes through a table.
Yeah,
I'm betting it happens.
Yeah, but Sabu looks a little bit older. He looks his age.
Bro, you can only go through so many tables.
Yeah,
it takes its toll on you.
Yeah, but there's other 58-year-olds that maintain their look. Like Hulk Hogan still can probably get in the ring. You know what I mean? He can't move. He'll scoot his way through the things, but you know, he still maintained. Sabu's kind of shrunk a little bit, and he's kind of looking his age. But I thought that the way they played it off was perfect. No physicality, just throws a chair at somebody, and everybody acted scared, which was perfect. The best way to have Sabu is to be, you know, viewed as a threat killer. So I loved it. I just thought, okay, it's a little more intrigue in a Vegas show. People want to see it. I thought the musical entrance was done very well, and I was very, 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 very impressed to see Sabu at AEW. So, and like I said, Tony Khan's a mark, and that's what he wants to do. So I just can't wait to see how the psychology of the Adam Cole match versus Jericho is going to go down. It's just a beautiful, beautiful matchup, and it'll be one that should deliver in ring.
So do you have, I'm sorry, you had Adam Cole winning that?
Adam Cole, baby.
All right, cool. All right, we've got Austin Gunn. This is a jam-packed card, too. This is unreal how many matches we've got on this. Austin Gunn, Colton Gunn, Ethan Page versus Hook, Jeff Hardy, and Matt Hardy. I believe that there is a contract that is involved in all of this, and I believe that is Ethan Page's contracts at stake. Look, I'm going to go with Hook, and I'm going to go with the Hardys. I think Hook is awesome. I think the crowd loves him. Austin, Colton Gunn have done a really good job to develop as heels. Ethan Page still strikes me as a guy who hasn't really figured out his role or hit his mode yet. It'll be interesting to see how he continues to develop his character and to see where he takes himself. But I got Hook and the Hardys. Who do you have?
Agree. I have Hook and the Hardys. I love seeing Hook. I just think, too, over the next 12 months, you got to do a little bit more with Hook, too, because he's over and has a potential to draw with some better feuds moving forward.
I agree with you 100%. All right. Next match is the International Championship Blackjack Battle Royal. This is that Orange Cassidy match where he's taking on 21 other competitors. Get ready, because the other 21 competitors consist of Ricky Starks, Brian Cage, Swerve Strickland, Penta, Ray Phoenix, Kip Sabian, Chuck Taylor, Trent Beretta, Tony Nese, Arya Davari, Big Bill, Lee Moriarty, Commander, Bandito, The Butcher, The Blade, Dustin Rhodes, Keith Lee, Juice Robinson, and Jay White. Whew. I think this is a way to finally get that belt off of Orange Cassidy if you wanted to. We talked about building championships, and this championship has felt real, has felt like a championship. Orange Cassidy for weeks now has been talking about how he's tired, how he's banged up, how he's beat up. If you were looking to ever get it off of him, this is a way to do it. He's going into a match against 21 other individuals. It's a battle royal. We all know Orange Cassidy is awesome in the ring. Tony loves opening the shows with Orange Cassidy. How do you see this one working out? Does Orange Cassidy retain his belt? Or does a guy maybe like Jay White or a guy like Keith Lee, or do they put it on maybe a younger guy like a Kip Sabian or a Ricky Starks and build them up? How does this play out? How do you see this happening?
Yeah, the Battle Royal, huh? Lots of competitors. I just think it's an opportunity to have the belt be taken off. Butcher, the Blade, Dustin Rhodes, which, would be sentimental, but never is going to happen. Jay White, Juice Robinson, Ray Phoenix, lots of great names. Lee Moriarty, Tony Nese. But I think the name that you probably could maybe outside the box, if it's my number 2 option, I think would be Brian Cage. I think would definitely be somebody that would be very intriguing. But if you want to keep it moving, to have a feud down the pike be more intriguing, you got to have Ricky Starks win it. So that's my pick to win it.
I like Ricky Starks. I think that's a solid pick. He was in my top 2 actually. Remember, if you get this is a battle royal, so if you get this one right, you get a bonus point. So you're going to go Ricky Starks, which I think is a fantastic pick. I'm going to go opposite of you because you're taking Ricky Starks. I think the belt comes off of Orange Cassidy. I think Jay White takes it. I think Jay White gets it. I think this is a way to really put Jay White over. Man, there's so many good guys because I'm looking at this list and I'm like, oh, well, maybe Bandito could wear it, and that'd be cool with Bandito having it. Or like you said, Brian Cage, it would be interesting. But I'm gonna stick with Jay White. You stick with Ricky Starks, and I think you could have those two guys feuding over that for a while because they've got obviously some stuff going on. Remember, if you get that one right, you get the bonus points. We move on to the TBS Championship. We've got Jade Cargill, who is now sitting at 60 wins, 60-0, taking on Taya Valkyrie. The big question is, does Jade cough up the title here? I think she does. I think 60 wins is enough. I think Taya Valkyrie hits her with her jaded. Taya Valkyrie has a different name for it. They share the same finishing move. I think Taya Valkyrie gets the win here. I think this is a good way to get that belt off of Jade Cargill. Maybe get her going in a different direction, get her challenging for something else. She has an impressive look. She is great. Her in-ring work has gotten so much better. Promo skills, I think, still have to get a little bit sharper. But overall, she is showing that she is a great package that is getting refined slowly. I think the belt comes off of her. You're able to do more stuff with her. I think at a certain point, it just kind of having that belt on her for so long just kind of becomes cumbersome. As a character, you can't really grow. As an athlete, you've got to kind of keep this streak going and keep it getting enhanced. I think this is a way to get it off her, a way to do different stuff with her. You brought Taya Valkyrie in. They've had an okay story. It's been an okay build. Put the belt on her, and let's see where that goes. Let Jade go do something else. How do you see this one working out?
Oh, man. It's tough, man. I look at some of these things, and I say, whew, how interesting could I see this card playing out? Lots of how much time do they get? I think that Jade Cargill, how long are they going to do this with her for? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
it kind of feels like it's almost run its course, right? Like it's time to hit the eject button.
It is time to hit the eject button, but I just think that when you see what she's about, I just think that she's great, Jade Cargill. It also feels like they could do more. You know what I mean? I think that, Taya Valkyrie, not yet at the level. I know she's a big deal, but I just see Jade Cargill continuing and keeping it moving. I don't see a title change here.
Okay. So you got Jade Cargill winning this.
Yes, I do. Yeah,
this will be interesting. And again, I think Jade Cargill has a lot of potential. Don't think she's anywhere near that. Like, if you were looking at this like an EA video game, like an EA Sports video game, I feel like she is the character that has like a potential of like 98. But currently they were sitting at like 66. Now she's up to somewhere right around like 75, maybe 80 on a good day. So she's got a lot more growth to do, but it really does feel like she could dominate this entire women's division, and she could be what Britt Baker basically is. I think we all hold Britt Baker in such high esteem as the face of the women's division. I think Jade Cargill could get there, but again, more work has to be done. What I believe is going to be the main event, Anarchy in the Arena. We were excited when you had the Elite come back together. That happened last week. You've got Adam Hangman Page. You got Kenny Omega. You got the Young Bucks. They're taking on Bryan Danielson, Claudio Castagnoli, Jon Moxley, Wheeler Yuta. Jon Moxley proclaimed this week that this is going to be the bloodiest match ever. So it'll be interesting to see how this plays out. It really does feel like this particular match hit its crescendo last week. This week, with what we got with the Young Bucks kind of interfering in Claudio and Wheeler's match, just kind of like felt like, all right, let's just kind of keep it going. We just gotta get it to Sunday. Let's just go. I'm excited for this one. I'm excited for Eye Patch Hangman Page. I think that's great. I think that Hangman, Kenny Omega, Young Bucks, I love them as the Elite. I love Blackpool Combat Club. Find them to be so interesting. Don't be surprised. I'm going to call my shot here. Don't be surprised if you see something happen with Don Callis. Okay. Don't be surprised if Don Callis plays a role in this. Don't be surprised if it comes out that Don Callis has basically been one of the orchestrating hands behind the Blackpool Combat Club for a while now. That's something I've been preaching. It's been a story that I've been pushing, and I'm going to continue to push it because I think it could pay dividends here. I think you're going to want to send the fans home happy. I can see Don Callis doing something in this. All that being said, I think you send the fans home happy. I'm going to go with the Elite winning this match.
I agree. I think it's going to be wild as hell. The Elite has been taking it, and I do think that the Combat Club has been really pushed forward. But I think that when you look at it in totality, I think that this pay-per-view has the potential to really send fans home really happy and thrilled with a great match with Hangman Page, the Elite, the Embrace, Kenny Omega. I think that the babyfaces should get one over. But it's kind of like one of those things where it's a great, hard-fought match. The Elite win, but right away they don't get to acknowledge the win. It's like, boom, the Combat Club just whoops their ass and does more heel things. So I think that it'll be something where the crowd pops, but then the Elite do their heel thing to keep the feud going or to have more violence interjected into this feud.
Yeah, I like that. I like that storytelling, and I think that kind of helps prolong it, push it forward. I think as AEW Collision gets underway, these two teams, they're staying on Dynamite. So these two teams can feud for a long while. So good call. I like the way you've kind of booked that to wrap up. Look, we differ on two picks, right? You've got Jade Cargill winning. I've got Taya Valkyrie winning. And then in the International Battle Royal, you've got Ricky Starks. I've got Jay White. Remember, with the International Battle Royal, if you get the person right, you get a bonus pick. So this card is worth at least 2 points. You hold a 1-point lead. It's 3-2 on calling the card. Really quickly, before we get into news and notes, I do want to get your show of the week. I want to know if you had 2 hours, 3 hours, you had just a little bit of time to watch some wrestling, what show were you tuning into that helped get you to these main pay-per-views, to these big matches that we just went over?
Yeah, I thought Dynamite did a really good job. I thought that everything with Sabu, the Vegas crowd, the way it was going down, I thought it was a good show. I thought that when you have the big stars on the show, I thought it was, it was funny. My kid noticed that Orange Cassidy opens the show quite a bit, but it actually delivers because the man is very capable. So I thought Dynamite was worth it in regards to how fast-paced it was. and how it kept everything moving. And I just thought the line of the week was Taz going, "Hey, I know him," and it was funny. So it was a good card to get everybody hyped up.
I kind of thought you were going to go that direction. I'm going SmackDown. I thought the fuel that was added to the fire, and it was a slow burn, and it was one of those things that was starting to die out. The fuel added to the bloodline, I thought was fantastic. The way the show ended, I thought was great. What took place in the beginning really helped set the tone. I was really drawn in. I think for a go home show to get you to a pay-per-view, I thought SmackDown did a really good job getting you amped up for what's going to take place later on today. Thought it was a really good show. So I'm going to give my nod to SmackDown. We'll split that point. Would you like some news and notes?
Hit me with this week's professional wrestling news and notes. What made your list?
All right, bad timing and bad luck for Mercedes Moné, the former Sasha Banks. At this past weekend, May 21st, New Japan Resurgent show, a 4-woman tournament took place to crown the inaugural New Japan Strong Women title holder. Mercedes Moné made it to the finals where she took on AEW's Willow Nightingale in the New Japan Pro Wrestling Strong Women's Championship match. Towards the end of the bout, Moné began to favor her leg and was carried out of the arena after the final bell. There was a spot in the match where she was going to climb up to the top rope. Looks like she slipped or maybe lost her balance, and instead of just kind of falling, she jumped down off the ring apron or to miss the ring apron, and when she landed, it appears as though she may have broken her ankle. PW Insider has kind of confirmed this. Moné was later rushed to the hospital with the help of Tamina. Nightingale ultimately picked up the victory and is the inaugural New Japan Pro Wrestling Strong Women's Champion. It sounds like Moné will be sidelined for at least 2 months. Moné was picked to win that match, and in the match, she called an audible. She said, "You need to pin me because my ankle's broken. I'm going to be shelved for a while." So you had a veteran basically leading a young girl in Nightingale, and Nightingale, just by happen chance, picks up the belt. I think if you're AEW, you now have to do something. Your fate has forced your hand. You have to do something with Willow Nightingale. We talked months ago how she was over with the crowd. We talked months ago how she was organic, how everybody loved her, how she was awesome. Your hand has now just been forced because she is the New Japan Strong Women's Champion. You have to do something with her. You have to capitalize on this. You have to build on this because New Japan is respected. This title there's supposed to be some respect put on it. You've got her as your champion. Do something with her now. With Moné being sidelined, that means that she will miss AEW's Forbidden Door, as well as there were supposed to be a couple of other AEW crossovers that she was slated for, or at least that was rumored that she was slated for. So it'd be interesting to see what happens when she comes back. Probably July-ish, maybe August-ish. More injury news, this time out of WWE. The tag team match that took place 2 weeks ago has left Liv Morgan and Dakota Kai on the shelf. According to PW Insider, Morgan's injury was related to her shoulder, and it is believed to be a torn rotator cuff. Due to this, Morgan is not expected back anytime soon. That is usually an injury that could take up to 6 to 8 months. The injury suffered by Dakota Kai in the same match was a torn ACL. So she is likely to be out of action for anywhere from 6 months to a year. So a lot of banged up females right now. And then finally, AEW has finally released its release date for AEW Fight Forever. AEW's first ever video game was announced back in November of 2020. So finally, after more than 2.5 years and multiple soft release dates, we have a date for one of the most anticipated wrestling video games. AEW Fight Forever will be out on June 29th, 2023. You can pre-order those now. That's going to do it for this week's wrestling news and notes. Taking those pay-per-views. We've got one on Saturday at 1, and we've got one on Sunday night at, I believe, 8 o'clock. Tune into your local pay-per-view provider or Peacock and check them out. Should be good shows.
Yeah, absolutely. Make sure that you follow Adam on Twitter at AdamRSTROZ. Follow the network at Detroit Podcast. Man, lots of great, interesting news and nuggets this week. Oh my gosh. It was a great week. 2 great pay-per-views. we summarized it just perfectly. I enjoyed it. It's going to be fun to sit back and watch and to see what ends up indeed happening as a result of these pay-per-views. Oh, so good. I can't wait to see really in the end, I can't wait to see the Vegas crowd, and I can't wait to see the crowd that pops up in Saudi Arabia. I think that that's just going to be something that really adds to the flavor of these shows, and it's going to be spectacular to see. So everybody, enjoy your Memorial Day weekend. Get your wrestling fix on. Make sure you follow the network at Detroit Podcast and type in Detroit Sports Podcast. When you're partying, blaring, hey, mix in a little bit of podcasting. I have enjoyed having people come up to me and say, hey, man, driving back from Indianapolis, heard your podcast, really enjoying it. You guys cover everything in Detroit sports in a very fun and unique way. So that means a lot, and very appreciative of those that subscribe, listen, and take in the content. And now that the summer months have hit, wrestling is picking up, and lots of intrigue, lots of news, rumors, new shows. Oh, such a great time to be in the world of professional wrestling. And I actually got a bit of piece of news, being that I'm in with the Detroit Rocket Mortgage Classic. The Miz will be part of the Par 3 Challenge. So maybe get out there, maybe for the first time. One time I was walking by him. He was, as a young performer, was in the crowd, doing a promotional appearance at DTE, but he was not the star that he is now. Now that he's the Miz and he's awesome, maybe the DOC's got to pay him a visit and see how his golf game evolves at the Detroit Golf Club. So stay tuned. Maybe the Doc will brush up and the Miz can get some more rub from someone else who's awesome. And that's the mouth-breathing, mouth of Macomb, Doc Macaroon. Because it was a great week of broadcasting. Let's keep it going. I can't wait for next week for the next edition of the DocNJock Wrestling Podcast.